It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Pride and Prejudice. There is no charm equal to tenderness of heart, Emma. I declare after all there is no enjoyment like reading. Pride and Prejudice. For what do we live, but to make sport for our neighbors, and laugh at them in our turn? Pride and Prejudice. Selfishness must always be forgiven, you know, because there is no hope of a cure. Mansfield Park. To be fond of dancing was a certain step towards falling in love. Pride and Prejudice. There are people who the more you do for them, the less they will do for themselves. Emma. One half of the world cannot understand the pleasures of the other. Emma. Seldom, very seldom, does complete truth belong to any human disclosure. Emma. A lady's imagination is very rapid. It jumps from admiration to love, from love to matrimony, in a moment. Pride and Prejudice. Vanity and pride are different things, though the words are often used synonymously. Pride and Prejudice. Nobody minds having what is too good for them. Mansfield Park. Happiness in marriage is entirely a matter of chance. Pride and Prejudice. There is nothing like staying at home for real comfort, Emma. It isn't what we say or think that defines us, but what we do. Sense and Sensibility. If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more. Emma. Laugh as much as you choose, but you will not laugh me out of my opinion. Pride and Prejudice. A mind lively and at ease can do with seeing nothing, and can see nothing that does not answer. Emma. A person who can write a long letter with ease cannot write ill. Pride and Prejudice. There is nothing so bad as parting with one's friends. Emma. I cannot speak well enough to be unintelligible. Northanger Abbey. A large income is the best recipe for happiness I ever heard of. Mansfield Park. I may have lost my heart, but not my self-control. Emma. We all have our best guides within us, if only we would listen. Mansfield Park. Surprises are foolish things. The pleasure is not enhanced, and the inconvenience is often considerable. Emma. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. Persuasion. A woman, especially if she have the misfortune of knowing anything, should conceal it as well as she can. Northanger Abbey. The person, be it gentleman or lady, who has not pleasure in a good novel, must be intolerably stupid. Northanger Abbey. There are as many forms of love as there are moments in time. Persuasion. Friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love. Northanger Abbey. Men have had every advantage of us in telling their own story. Education has been theirs in so much higher a degree. The pen has been in their hands. Persuasion. I hate to hear you talk about all women as if they were fine ladies instead of rational creatures. Pride and Prejudice. It is not everyone who has your passion for dead leaves. Sense and Sensibility. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you. Pride and Prejudice. Know your own happiness. You want nothing but patience, or give it a more fascinating name. Call it hope. Sense and Sensibility. I have been a selfish being all my life, in practice, though not in principle. Emma. It is very often nothing but our own vanity that deceives us. Persuasion. You have bewitched me body and soul. Pride and Prejudice. There is safety in reserve, but no attraction. One cannot love a reserved person. Emma. To sit in the shade on a fine day and look upon verdure is the most perfect refreshment. Mansfield Park. You must learn some of my philosophy. Think only of the past as its remembrance gives you pleasure. Pride and Prejudice. It is always incomprehensible to a man that a woman should ever refuse an offer of marriage. Pride and Prejudice. Nothing ever fatigues me but doing what I do not like. Mansfield Park. Every moment has its pleasures and its hope. Mansfield Park. Next to being married, a girl likes to be crossed in love a little now and then. Pride and Prejudice. If adventures will not befall a young lady in her own village, she must seek them abroad. Northanger Abbey. I cannot fix on the hour, or the spot, or the look or the words which laid the foundation. Pride and Prejudice. The more I see of the world, the more am I dissatisfied with it. Pride and Prejudice. To flatter and follow others without being flattered and followed in turn is but a state of half enjoyment, persuasion. One man's ways may be as good as another's, but we all like our own best, persuasion. You are too generous to trifle with me, Pride and Prejudice. No man is offended by another man's admiration of the woman he loves. It is the woman only who can make it a torment, Northanger Abbey. The distance is nothing when one has a motive, Pride and Prejudice. Angry people are not always wise, Pride and Prejudice. My good opinion, once lost, is lost forever, Pride and Prejudice. It sometimes happens that a woman is handsomer at 29 than she was 10 years before, persuasion. We all have a better guide in ourselves, if we would attend to it, than any other person can be, Mansfield Park. I have no talent for certainty, Mansfield Park. Let other pens dwell on guilt and misery, Mansfield Park. A woman's heart is a deep ocean of secrets, sense and sensibility. A single woman of good fortune is always respectable, and may be as sensible and pleasant as anybody else, persuasion. You are too generous to trifle with me, Pride and Prejudice. There is no remedy for love but to love more, sense and sensibility. You may only call me Mrs. Darcy when you are completely and perfectly and incandescently happy, Pride and Prejudice. An engaged woman is always more agreeable than a disengaged, Emma. It will not do. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you, Pride and Prejudice. Perhaps it is our imperfections that make us so perfect for one another, Emma. I must learn to be content with being happier than I deserve, Pride and Prejudice. Oh, there is nothing to be compared to my comfort, Mansfield Park. If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more, Emma. I cannot make speeches. If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more, Emma. The very first moment I beheld you, my soul was irrevocably gone, sense and sensibility. Life seems but a quick succession of busy nothings, Mansfield Park. To be fond of dancing was a certain step towards falling in love, Pride and Prejudice. I will be calm. I will be mistress of myself, sense and sensibility. Oh, do not attack me with your watch. A watch is always too fast or too slow. I cannot be dictated to buy a watch, Mansfield Park. You have shown me how insufficient were all my pretensions to please a woman worthy of being pleased, Pride and Prejudice. You mistake me, my dear. I have a very poor opinion of young men who live in the same village and have nothing but their own merits to depend on, Pride and Prejudice.